Good morning. It is Monday, the 4th of September 2023, 7:30 on the dot. One of those few times when we really hit it on the dot. But we do try our best to do it. But sometimes technology lets us down. Today, the networks are behaving, so I'm very happy. I do a speed test every, just like about 5 minutes before the call. And today the speeds were 4 hours setup, decent enough. So welcome to our call this morning. We run these every single day, Monday to Friday. And on Mondays, it's myself running Unleashing Your Destiny, Rev Walter. On Tuesdays, it's Auntie Sylvia or Sunshine. Sylvia's we fondly call her, running Mindset Change Program. Very, very insightful. Then on Wednesday, we have the open market. And if you look down there, you see the scroll that's running across. That's details for those of you that may be interested in being part of this. We have a rate card. You can get in touch with us on the number shown, and we'll be happy to share that with you and arrange for you to be part of the Wednesday program. But on Wednesdays, it's open market, so we do share our own programs, which are paid for programs on various topics related to our services. On Thursday, it's Dr. Nelly, and Dr. Nelly comes through with Prosperity for Your Soul, a very fine and balanced mix between things spiritual and things marketplace, and very well done in helping to bring about the true realization of who you are. And then on Friday, we have Dr. Jacqueline Mulundika, who comes through with healthy tips. And these run every single week during a working day. Now, for those of you that are watching this, if you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, thank you for being part of it. Please head on now. If you haven't done it yet, I ask you to please subscribe to the platform and do it right away. Now. I know a lot of times we get busy. We say, okay, I'll do it, but you don't get to do it. So I'm asking you just now just to tap your screen, and it'll show you the little subscribe option at the bottom on your right. Tap on that and it will subscribe, and you can choose to either have some or all notifications, and you will receive them according to whatever setting you have when it comes to notifications. So for that, I'm very, very grateful. Don't forget to comment, leave your comments below, both here on Facebook or here on YouTube, depending where you're watching this. And I do respond to all of those. So always a pleasure to do so. Now, this morning, the topic that I'm tackling is the one you see there, the managing yourself, the business of you. This is part of the 11 critical modern day skills to master today. So this is the second of 11 episodes. And this specifically deals with the first of those 11 skills, which is managing yourself or the business of you. And by the way, if you want to really take this to the next level, suppose you're one of those that's listening to this and you're like, wow, I think this is amazing, this is powerful, I want to be, just take this to the next level. I do offer Unleashing Your Destiny as a coaching program, as well as Financial Intel 101. Again, the number is scrolling at the bottom of the screen and shall remain scrolling throughout this particular session. You're free to get in touch and go to the next level. Whatever the case, we do offer these free of charge as part of our giving back to community. And so make sure you have a pen and paper. If you're driving or you're busy, fine, you can always come back to it later. But we appreciate the fact that you come through every morning to be part of what we're doing here. And thank you to all who join us and run with us on a day-by-day basis. Now, let's delve into what exactly this is, the whole idea behind this particular series. Now, on my last visit to the UK, I could not help but be intrigued by the fact that whenever we would visit any fueling station, there would be absolutely not a single fuel attendant in sight. And some of these stations had as many as 16 fueling bays. Now, cars would simply pull up, drivers alight from their vehicles, select amount of fuel needed, then tap their Visa cards on the built-in point of sale, and voila, fuel is ready to be dispensed, which they would do on their own until amount paid is filled, then they leave. And if they need their car washed, they then proceeded to the drive-through car washing bay and finished the inside of their own cars with automated vacuum machines, all this without a single attendant in sight. Now, the entire station would have one shopkeeper inside the shop or station managing the mini mart, as well as keeping an eye on various transactions taking place through the CCTV system, which is located around the station. Thus, every serving bay and general views of the station are visible, not to mention the mini-mart itself. If this were in Africa, a 16-bay filling station would employ at least 20 plus attendants. Though this may, sound far-fetched to the uninformed, I foresee a situation in Africa very soon. I mean, it's just a matter of time before somebody tries it, and who knows what will follow. And in view of the changing job landscape, now more than ever, it is imperative that individuals learn how to become more marketable and versatile in terms of what they bring, as their value proposition. And the first most powerful skill that one would need to master is the business of self-management. And by the way, recently my wife was in the US, and that's the same thing that really stood out for her, because she went she would go to Walmart and the various shops, and the first thing she noticed, especially with Walmart and all the supermarkets, is that there are no tellers. Literally, there's no tellers. So what happens is you simply pick your products, you get to the teller point, and there are two options at play. Either you have trolleys that sense what you pick, and so as you pick them off the shelves, they automatically tally your total. Or you have the other option where you get to the till and you scan your own items. And then after that, you simply insert your Visa card, punch in your numbers, and they debit the money, and you pack your own bags and off you go. I mean, unreal. And that's what's happening now. So imagine tellers are gone, and then somebody says, but what about those who sweep the shop and pack all these items? A number of these massive stores have now got robots that actually go and restock. So when throughout the course of the day, as stock is picked up by people, these robots will come through and stock back and put back all the stock according to the shelves, so that the shelves are ever full. Yes, there are a few human beings here and there, but a lot of times they have changed. So what happens, you can have a massive store with 24, 25 till checkout points and just 5 or 6 people working in total, including a manager. Can you believe that? Now that's the direction in which things are headed, and this really should be a wake-up call for all of us, because it's showing that that's the direction things are going. And that's why I'm talking about the management of you, because if you do not wake up and begin to do what you can in order to change the narrative, you will find yourself becoming irrelevant. You will find yourself at a place where you are not in any position to take advantage of what's going on. And so this particular episode today is designed to help you come to that realization that you need to do something about managing yourself. So let's go into this. Now, as we head into the future, the one key skill that is becoming more relevant and likely is freelancing. That's right, freelancing. Okay, this is also termed gig management. So any job that you pick privately, wherever you pick, is also termed a gig. Now, this concept is that with the uncertainty of jobs, shorter contracts, more outsourcing done locally and globally, this is becoming a far more popular option as compared to being in employment. But let this whole freelancing thing not fool you at all. It is far harder to get work this way, and the number of skills you need to ensure your ability to increase your value is far greater. And this is why this series that I'm running right now is designed to teach you the 11 critical skills that you must possess to stay ahead. So I did talk about them in my previous transmission. So go look for this same title and you will find the 11. So today, let's focus on these. Now, Thomas Frey, a leading futurist, says that if you want to become a highly sought after freelancer, you will need to master, among other things, the following. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, but they are so important. And so over the next remaining, 21 minutes or so, I am going to run you through all the different skills, okay? And these skills, again, are designed to help you to realize and get your act together. So if you are smart, you will make sure that you do everything in your power to master these skills. So I will be posting them on the comments as well, so that you're able to follow them one after the other. So as I was saying, let's go into the skills themselves. So the first skill is networking. There it is, networking. As the saying goes, your network is indeed your net worth. Whom you acquaint yourself with has a bearing on how far in life you will ascend and what gigs you will get. The days of being an introvert hidden in some corner somewhere are gone. You can't afford to be saying, nah, I just stick to my type of people. No, you need to learn and master the skill of being a good networker. What does that mean? That means if you, for example, are an accountant, obviously you're part of ZICA if you're in Zambia, which is the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants, and whatever other institutes they have, CIMA, ACC, I don't know, I'm not an accountant, but all I know is that that's the space you'd be in. Now, if you've worked for a while, you will have gained a bit of, what's that word, experience in terms of how to run accounts for all manner of people. Now, if you want to become successful as an independent consultant, you got to make sure, A, you're part of ZICA and all their meetings. You want to be part, like an active member, not just somebody who just pays a subscription because that's what the law requires, but become an active member and volunteer to be part of their programs, including the annual event that they host in Livingston. And I'm speaking specifically to Zambia, but I know there are many who watch from all parts of the world. Each one of your country has some kind of professional body that is kind of like a regulator in some way of what you do. Be part of that, but don't just be part of it because that's the regulatory requirement, but volunteer to be part of their programs so that you become privy to all the information. And remember, when you are seen, you're more likely to be remembered. When you do a good turn, you will get a good turn in return, if you like. So you have to make sure you're very active in these setups. Another thing, if you can, be part also of business associations that are most likely to tap into your professional circle in order to gain whatever they need to gain. So that's another very powerful way to ensure that when it comes to your networking, you really grow that network. When they have cocktails, when they have all these events related to your field, pay the fee, go and attend. If they're having some training somewhere, pay the fee, go and attend. If they're inviting some speaker somewhere, pay the fee, go and attend. But you find that if you're a volunteer and are active in their committees or whatever, you will most likely be able to attend all these things for free. You get it? You won't have to pay the $50 or the $100 fee that you need to be part of that. You'll attend. And then what you'll also discover is that there are many programs you will literally attend for free by virtue of being a member. So networking is very important. Being known in your circle. I know people who are professional human resources, managers, and nobody knows them. I mean, outside of their job where they work, even in the association, it's like, Mr. Who? Like nobody knows the person because they are invisible. Now, I get it, you're an introvert, but I'm telling you, in the gig economy of the future, you need to come out of your shell. I've said it many times in my own presentations, that I am actually an introvert. Now, people don't believe it because I talk a lot and everything. The reason is because I broke free of that shell of introverts, of being an introvert. I said, I'm not going to sit around being an introvert. Instead, I'm going to make sure I am deliberate about being out there so that people know more about what I do. And if you do that, what that does for you is it helps you to now be able to become alert and aware of events going on around you. And listen to me, many opportunities that relate to your progress and success will be found in those networks. And let me tell you something else that other people don't like. People always pick people they prefer. People always pick people they know. There is something in professional circles called headhunting. And headhunting means literally top decision makers, CEOs and the like will pick up a phone and say, hey, listen, I'm looking for a sharp accountant who can help me do my papers. There's a bit of a mess going on here. Do you know anybody that does that? You see, they're not going to start going and advertising in the newspaper for a job. No, they'll literally start phoning each other to ask if anybody knows anyone. And what tends to happen, without exception, is that somebody's going to say, oh yes, absolutely, I know Mr. Piri, he's actually a brilliant guy, let me give you his number. And that's how the number gets shared. Now you imagine if you are one of those people that doesn't even bother getting in touch or even networking, no one will know about you, and that's how you become anonymous and unknown. And that's why I am telling you that one of your biggest jobs should be, without doubt, going out there and finding new gigs by being part of networks. So this is very, very important. And then we come to the second item, which is the skill of tracking down potential gigs. Tracking down potential gigs. I'm going to post that just now. So what's this tracking down of potential gigs? Okay, this comes chiefly from your network and which circles you monitor. So you need to ensure that you are affiliated to all relevant associations, organizations, and networks. In other words, you will see that this keeps coming up, tracking up of potential gigs. So you can't track potential gigs, track down rather. You can't track down potential gigs if you are an introvert locked in your own space. The only way it works is when you yourself are actually part of those networks, when you are part of whatever they're doing. So make sure that you deliberately become a member who is active in these platforms, doing whatever it takes, being a volunteer, especially volunteerism. A lot of people actually underplay the power of being a volunteer and how much that can make a difference for you. Number 3, writing concept notes and proposals. Now that's a skill that scares a lot of people, but I tell you, if you are in the what's this gig economy, this has to become part of your skills. Writing down concept notes and proposals. This is an absolute vital. Why? Because if you lack this, you are screwed and you must acquire it at all costs. So don't sit around and say, who's going to write a concept note? No, you just have to learn how to do it. And it's not as difficult as it sounds. All you need to do is be proficient in communication, which is what I would expect any professional worth their salt who is a consultant would be. This is why I keep telling people that don't think communication is something for special people. No, you will need it as a master stroke in helping you to find and maintain gigs as a consultant. So write those proposals, learn how to do it. These days, the internet is such a powerful resource. You can go right now and learn for free. For starters, you get the templates, you go watch the YouTube videos, they'll give you some guidance. Then from there, if you're a serious person who's worth their thinking, who's got a head between their shoulders, you will then pay an expert that will now teach you the basics of how to write a good concept note and proposal. This is inescapable and unavoidable. Let me say that again. This skill is inescapable and unavoidable. I mean, unless you're going to be spending money paying somebody to do it for you, which for me, I would not recommend at any time. You want to make sure you do this on a regular basis. Uncle Lorian even confirms there. He says, writing is a powerful tool. Using it in concept notes and proposals is priceless. Exactly. So which means you must make sure you make it a point to learn this. And the beauty, like I keep saying, is this is an available resource which you can tap into anytime, especially if you're serious about this whole gig economy, because that's where we're headed. That's where things are going. So the days of always finding some job somewhere and working for people, that's really changing. That's really changing. So this number 3, I can't even begin to explain how important this skill is. Which brings me to number 4. Now, number 4 is another very, very important skill which you need to learn. And I know a lot of people are scared of this. They're like, oh my God, I don't have any legal knowledge. I never had any legal background. And so how am I going to pull this off? Because this thing, you need to be a lawyer. I've got news for you. You can pull it off on your own. Number 4 is forming contracts. This is another vital skill that will make the difference when it comes to covering you in the event of adversity in the future. So how do you do this? How do you learn to write contracts? For starters, I'm going to give you a hack which is very powerful. There is a program called Business in a Box. Phenomenal. This is a program you can invest in. It will cost you probably not more than $100, $150. These are things we've spent money on. So this $150, you buy this thing called Business in a Box, and it contains almost 1,500 sample contracts on every conceivable component of business. Yeah, it's that powerful. I find it very, very good. Now, sorry, I've got something happening here. There you go. I accidentally had my alarm start running, and so that's not good. Sorry about that. So this is so powerful, because what it does is it has over 1,500 contracts, and you can go in there and you'll find templates for virtually any kind of business deal. You see, the other option normally is for businesses that can afford it. You get yourself a legal consultant. So you have a legal consultant, they look at your papers, but most times legal consultants that are worth their salt are minimum 5,000 kwacha on a retainer per month. That's the minimum. That's even a cheap one. Okay, 5,000 kwacha retainer per month. Most people, I'll be very honest, can't afford that. And even for myself, I mean, I already have so many other obligations I have. I don't think I can put a lawyer on a retainer. So you have to be at a certain level, and then when you're at that level, you can afford these 5,000 kwachas as retainers. So what we do most times is, obviously, for people like ourselves, we've learned the trick. We have Business in a Box. $200, about 4,000 kwacha. You buy yourself all the templates, and then from there you can customize them. Now, there are some templates and some contracts which are so serious because of being in Zambia, so you have to make sure it kind of aligns to Zambia, because you might find that some of that stuff in the Business in a Box may not necessarily be relevant to Zambia in terms of its framing and style. But again, a bit of consultation can get you out of hot water with this one. So it's very important that you learn how to frame contracts. We do this all the time. When we have business deals with people, we have to create NDAs, with a non-disclosure agreements. You have to sign MOUs, which are memorandum of understanding. This is the most basic. Then you can also sign what we call joint ventures or joint agreements or agency deals or whatever it is. You know all the terms, and then you have to have your own terms and conditions of how you work. These are things that should be etched into your papers, into your agreements, all over the place, and they must be right out there, so that when you're working with people, you are safe. A lot of people have found themselves in deep hot water because they ignored this part, and then when things went south, which happens a lot in business, they found that they didn't even have any kind of cover for themselves, and they end up being screwed. So you do not want to find yourself in that position. So make sure that this idea of forming contracts becomes part of your skills. Now, I'm going to take a break and market my book. I always market my book on this section, and then I'll come back and we finish up the last 4, which deal with the issues that you need to master in order to stay ahead with the managing your business. Alrighty, so now that we come back, thank you for staying on. Now, number 5, this is really serious. This one, number 5. This one, a lot of companies have found themselves paying serious fines because of ignoring this one. And that is managing your accounting. So you see, with Zambia Revenue Authority tightening in your country, whichever revenue authority you run with, tightening the noose and the tax net, which is becoming more efficient, Now more than ever, anyone running their own business must ensure compliance or face gargantuan fines and possible conviction. But even beyond that, there's also the issue of contracts. A lot of bigger contracts and companies are now requesting for things like tax clearance certificates. Okay, so you will discover very quickly that if you don't have a tax clearance certificate, you won't be able to be considered for business. So tax clearance certificates are certificates issued by the Zambia Revenue Authority to all businesses that are compliant. You will also discover that a lot of people will ask for PACRA papers. And now PACRA, which is the Patents and Companies Registration Act or something, or agency, these guys also have something called annual returns. You will be amazed. Even now, I bet a number of you with so-called established consultancies and businesses haven't done your returns. The other day, I was dealing with somebody from Malawi who was trying to ensure that one of the universities is a real, genuine registered entity. Ironically, they are a genuinely registered entity, but when you took their name, put it on the PACRA website, and typed, did a search, there's that big little red button at the bottom saying non-compliant. That's not a good thing to have as a consultant. In fact, when it comes to contracts and gigs, this could be the only reason your company is not picked, or you are not picked as an individual for the purposes of business. So if you come to me, small as I am at the moment, I am compliant everywhere. You go, I've got a tax clearance certificate. My annual returns are green. It's nice when you search Destiny Peak Pro, you get a nice green button there saying compliant. You know, that stuff is very, very helpful when it comes to your accounting. But beyond that, if you've got quite a bit of work going on, there is no harm in engaging an accounting consultant who can help you to do your books properly, especially when you become VAT registered. Because with VAT, you don't mess with VAT. Government goes rogue when it comes to VAT. They don't mess around because that's their money. On that one, they will come, they will shut you down like that if you're not giving or remitting the value added tax to them, because what you're doing is you're collecting their money on their behalf. So they don't muck around with VAT. So if you have reached a place where you now have registered for VAT, it is prudent to have some kind of accountant in your setup who is going to help you. These days, thankfully, there are many great experts who actually are brilliant, and they offer this as what's the word? As a consultancy. You can outsource these accounting services and they can help you with compliance of VAT and all those crazy things. So you'll find there's VAT on one end, there's payee on the other. Then you'll also find the little small obligations such as workers' compensation plan, NAPSA, NEMA. These are all regulatory statutes that are set to take care of employees and their dues, which are held on behalf by an employer. So as an employer, the last thing you want is be behind on NEMA, be behind on NAPSA, be behind on workers' compensation, be behind on tax itself, payee, the actual taxes, and NAPSA. I mean, that's definitely a no-go. So that's why when you find that you have quite a bit going on, bring in the basic services of an accountant, let them help you set up. These days, there are many good consultants available. They don't have to be on full-time salary, but they can come in on a retainer and they can do your books on your behalf, even as they do other people's books. And they'll help you stay compliant. They'll guide you on how much you need to pay, when you need to pay it, how soon it should be paid, and how regularly it should be paid. They will also guide on what is waivable, what isn't waivable, if there are any amnesties in case you have problems with ZRA, those things they can help you with. They can help you negotiate if you've got backlog of stuff. These are very important things to take into consideration as a gig economy partaker. Now, another one which is very, very important, and Sylvia and myself, we swear by this one. This is, I'm going to post it just now. This is the differentiator between remaining afloat and going bust. The one I'm just about to post. This is the differentiator. So you want to make sure that when it comes to this one, it is happening. This is the one that determines whether you stay afloat or not, and that is sales. So one of the two critical success activities in business, the other being in front of customers, which is marketing, okay? Every business owner has to master this skill, and freelancers are no exception. My friends, let me be blunt with you. If you cannot sell, stop. Just forget, because you can't do business. And you know, a lot of people say, but I'm not a salesman. That's a lie. You can be the most introverted human being and still be a salesperson. Let me ask you a question. How did you get married? For those who are married, yeah, exactly. You pitched. You had to make a pitch to this woman. If you were a man, if you're a man, you had to make a pitch to a woman. If you're a woman, you had to advertise yourself. Now, obviously, I don't mean you went around, but the point is, you had to advertise yourself. You had to present yourself in such a way that you were attractive to the prospective person who's now become your husband. So no one can tell me that they can't sell. It's just not true. Everybody can sell. All we need to do is just teach you how to do it. And there's a process in learning how to sell. And we offer this as a service. You can just follow those links down there, and we will show you and come and either train your staff or train yourself on how you can master the key factors of selling. We call them the ABCs of selling. It's such a straightforward thing. I don't care how introverted you are. You and anybody listening to this video can sell. And that's a skill that you require. Remember, if you cannot sell, you will go bust. Your business will be toast. So sell. Which brings me to another very, very important skill. A lot of people kind of, I don't know, especially in this country, I don't understand. I mean, Auntie Sylvia and I scream about this one, but you know, I don't know. I have no idea. And it's not just Auntie Sylvia and myself. It's even Dr. Nelly. We sing about this one. We've sang about it. But for some strange reason, people never catch this one. Yesterday, it's so unfortunate. My wife was part of the training. She's taking a course, and that's course is going to be part of what will help her in terms of her progress. And this is a university. But this could be done. This is the skill. This is scheduling. Time management is a critical factor to managing the many moving parts. Okay? Many moving parts more efficiently. And lack in this area proves deadly to your progress and ultimate success. Time management. Dr. Nelly even goes a step further and calls it time mapping. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Any person who finds themselves always running behind time then rushing are just bad time managers. You should never rush. Unless it's something that you didn't plan for, it's an emergency. Yes, in that case, you have no power over that. But anything else? No. It's inexcusable to even be late. It's inexcusable to find yourself struggling with being able to keep time and manage all the different schedules. So what you need to do is get into a serious study of how to manage time, how to schedule your programs. And in Mindset Change program, in my own Unleashing Your Destiny, in PLD's own program as well, we talk about time management, time mapping. We talk about HPAs and LPAs. HPAs are high productivity or high paying activities, and then LPAs are low. Now, what anybody should be doing is taking the low activities and either delegating them or dropping them, but since they're needed, so you just delegate or subcontract, and you focus on activities that pay you the most money, and that's where you spend your time. This is how you manage. When it comes to scheduling, we have computers, we have phones. I mean, I don't even understand how people at this level in this day and age can be failing to remember to remember appointments and to keep making excuses. Sorry, I'm late. Sorry, you're late? No, you should have scheduled it. Now, the truth of the matter is, yes, you can be caught in traffic, but if you are a good scheduler, you understand that when it comes to time management, you have to be prudent. That's what it is. I don't even subscribe to that thing of scheduling a call like this and then saying, no, we're waiting for people to come, then we start. I don't do the waiting for people to come. When it's 8, we start. When it's 7:30, we start. We never do any waiting for people, because I believe I respect those people who came and showed up on time. That's why when you come to our 7:30, we never, ever start with waiting for people. We don't do that. because we already have people that are already ready. Those who are late will catch the recording. But we never ever do the waiting for people. No, that's not part of our setup. And I get stunned when you have learning institutions that pull that crap of, no, we're waiting for people, then we'll start the lecture. No, the lecture goes, even with one person, just start it. The rest will catch the recording. That's when they will learn to respect time. And this is where us as Pentecostals fail lamentably. Thankfully, I'm at a church where we don't have that rubbish. At our church, 10 o'clock is 10 o'clock, 9:30 is 9:30, 11 is 11. We follow time. And for me, I think that's very important because it teaches people how to be disciplined, even in their business. Learn to be a business person that's serious about following time and managing time well. Okay, so that's very much, I like what Pastor is saying, firefighting runs through our veins and it's always costing us. Exactly. Why do you want to firefight? Plan your day well. And when you plan your day well, you will be able to do things in a much better way. Indeed, Zambian time is an absolutely useless terminology. I hate it myself. I don't subscribe to it. I don't even believe it. Now, at the end, we are at literally at the end of our presentation. So let me quickly drop the last one, which is a bit more complex, but it's a very, very powerful skill you need to learn as a gig economist, and that is project management. Now, project management, thankfully, there are nice short courses available that can help you and I be able to master this skill. But as a freelancer, there are going to be opportunities to head large undertakings, which would have many components within them. And as such, this skill becomes an absolute indispensable skill. Project management, what is that? That's the idea of managing a project with many parts. Events are a good example of a project, but that's not the only thing. There are so many other things that may come up, and you may find that your company is called on to do that. So as a business owner, as especially a consultant, and as a gig economist, project management, you want that, because in project management you learn so many components, or like budgeting and so many other things. You will learn how to run all that, and so it's very important that this is also bagged in your skills. So in closing, these are all part of the rigorous lifestyle that comes with the territory. Yeah, okay. And it's so important. Now, in the end, skilled freelancers have the ability to control their own destiny, something most workers can only dream of. Okay, this obviously calls for higher than ordinary levels of self-discipline, which unfortunately the majority lack, and choosing to be told what to do and then doing just enough to meet their quota, but never outperforming their peers or themselves, and hence making the prospect of being great in this area very thin. Self-discipline, my friends, is the secret to progress. Look at everyone on this platform, and I'm not boasting, I'm just stating the obvious. When it comes to myself, Dr. Nelly, Auntie Sylvia, and the rest of us on this group, we are big on self-discipline. We do not wait for somebody. None of us has to be reminded over anything. No one, we never have a situation where somebody says, oh, by the way, tomorrow it's you. Then you're scampering all over the place. That is totally unacceptable. Not at our level. Maybe mediocre, low people who have no respect for other people's time and other people's effort. Yes, they can behave that way. Not for us. We do not operate on that type of thinking in our circles. And I'm so proud to be part of this really high-performing circle. And that's why I know that it's literally a matter of time before we become legendary in what we do. Why? Because we bring the best to the table. We don't bring half-baked. We don't bring quarter. We don't bring half of myself. I don't wake up in some mood. I don't do stuff when I'm inspired. I am a professional. Let me close with this. The difference between amateurs and professionals when it comes to this, what I'm telling you, is this. And I'll close with this because this will be the ultimate close. Amateurs wait to be inspired. Amateurs want to be motivated. So they're the ones who look for motivation. Amateurs wait to be in the mood. Amateurs seek some form of inspiration. And then when they get these things I've listed, one or more, then they get to work. And many times if they wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or if stuff, comes and catches them by surprise, then they can't perform because the day started off bad and there was a noise they couldn't handle. That's what amateurs do. But you know what professionals do? Professionals just show up and get to work. End of story. It doesn't matter whether there's a hurricane. I mean, unless it's physically impossible to get to work, then that's when amateurs will not, that's when professionals will not work. But every other time, we show up and we get going. And we get ready, we prepare. Remember that all this material we present, we've been presenting for 3 years plus, we prepare for it. We don't just wake up and scamper around looking for we prepare. Every one of us is prepared. We were born ready. We were set ready. We are professionals. And what are you? So I hope that by watching this today, you have made a decision that if you're going to become part of the so-called gig economy, if you're going to become a professional, if you're going to become a consultant that's going to run and build a life and go on to become a millionaire one day, then I believe that you must be a professional. And that's why managing you is everything. Remember, every business, every entity is a reflection of its owner. Don't go and start shouting at workers and shouting at the maid for being dirty. Guess who's dirty? Maids and workers only work as hard as the owner. If you, the owner, think and show up at 10 in the morning, ask them what's going on, and knock off at 14, you think that's going to be cut it off for you? It won't. Your business will tank, I assure you. So all professionals show up and get to work. On that note, I want to thank you so much for being a part of our call. And remember to share these videos. We do run them, share them, and tag somebody, and we'll continue answering questions in case there are any in the group. But on this note,